A man with the mind of a child looks at a pile of toothpicks scattered across the floor. Everyone else sees a mess, but Raymond Babbitt sees the exact number, 246. His younger brother, Charlie Babbitt, thinks that cannot be right. Then the waitress checks the box and says there are 4 toothpicks left. The box originally held 250, which means Raymond was right. Charlie is stunned. To test whether his brother really has an extraordinary ability, he takes Raymond to a doctor. No matter how difficult the math questions become, Raymond answers almost instantly. That is when Charlie realizes something he never expected. The brother he thought was a burden may actually be a genius. But before Charlie reaches that moment, he is a completely different man. Years earlier, when Charlie was 16, he had a terrible fight with his father and ran away from home. He never went to college, but after years of struggling, he built a decent business importing luxury cars. He also has a beautiful girlfriend named Susanna, but because he hates his father, Charlie never goes home. He never calls. He never tries to repair the relationship. Then one day, he receives news that his father has died. Charlie returns to Cincinnati, not because he wants to mourn, but because he expects to inherit something. Susanna cannot understand why Charlie hates his father so much. In the old family photos, Charlie and his father look close, so Charlie tells her the story. His father owned a 1949 Buick Roadmaster, the one thing Charlie wanted more than anything as a teenager. But no matter how many times he asked, his father refused to let him drive it. That car became Charlie's obsession. So when Charlie got straight A's at 16, he thought he had earned a ride. His father still said no. Angry and hurt, Charlie stole the keys and took the car out with his friends. His father called the police and reported the car stolen. Charlie and his friends were arrested. The other kids were picked up quickly, but Charlie was left in the station for days. That memory became the wound that broke their relationship forever. Susanna feels sorry for him, but also wonders why he never told her any of this before. Charlie keeps talking, as if he barely hears her. He says that when he was scared as a child, he used to imagine a comforting friend called the Rain Man, someone who would sing to him and calm him down. Then the will is read. Charlie expects money. Instead, he inherits the old Buick and a rose garden. The rest of the estate, about $3 million, is placed in a trust for an unnamed beneficiary. The lawyer refuses to reveal the name. Charlie is furious. To him, it feels like one last insult from the father he already hated. He leaves angry and starts digging for answers. Eventually, he finds the address connected to the trust. It leads him to Walbrook, a facility that cares for people with developmental conditions and disabilities. Charlie has no idea why his father's money would be sent there. Dr. Bruner, the head of the facility, clearly knows the truth, but he refuses to explain the beneficiary because of confidentiality. Charlie threatens legal action and storms out. Then he finds a strange man sitting in the back seat of his Buick with Susanna. The man refuses to leave. Charlie tries to force him out, but suddenly the man says he used to ride in this car, back when the seats were brown instead of red. Charlie freezes. The seats really were brown years ago. Then the man says the names of Charlie's parents and the dates they died. That is when Charlie learns the truth. He is not an only child. This man is Raymond Babbitt, his older brother. Raymond is autistic and has lived at Walbrook since he was young. The facility is his home, and he has built his entire life around routines. Every detail matters to him. A certain schedule, certain foods, certain books, certain habits. When those routines are disturbed, Raymond becomes frightened and overwhelmed. But Charlie does not care about that. All he cares about is the money. Why did nobody ever tell him he had a brother? And why would his father leave $3 million to someone who may not even understand money? Charlie becomes even more bitter when he looks through Raymond's belongings and finds a book with a warm message from their father written inside. Charlie never received that kind of affection. Jealous and angry, he comes up with a plan. If he takes Raymond away, maybe Dr. Bruner will pay him half the inheritance to bring him back. So Charlie pretends he just wants to take Raymond for a walk. The staff do not suspect anything. They think it might be good for the brothers to spend time together, but Charlie has already asked Susanna to bring the car around. Then he tricks Raymond into leaving the facility. Just like that, Charlie kidnaps his own brother. That evening, they stop at a hotel, but Raymond quickly becomes anxious. The room is unfamiliar. The bed is in the wrong place. There is no familiar bookshelf. There is no tapioca pudding. Nothing feels safe. Only after Susanna moves the bed near the window and Charlie gives him a phone book does Raymond begin to calm down. Late that night, Raymond hears unfamiliar sounds and wanders into Charlie and Susanna's room. He sits at the end of the bed and starts watching television. Charlie snaps and yells at him. Susanna is upset. She tells Charlie that Raymond thinks like a child and deserves patience. But that only makes Charlie angrier. Why does everyone care about Raymond? Just because Raymond is different. Charlie refuses to comfort him and takes his anger out on him instead. Susanna is already uncomfortable with Charlie taking Raymond from the facility. When she realizes he is doing it for money, she is disgusted. They argue, and she leaves in the middle of the night. Charlie sits in silence. Then he looks over at Raymond, who is quietly muttering to himself, untouched by the emotional chaos around him. For a moment, Charlie almost envies him, but the next morning, that feeling disappears. At breakfast, the food is slightly late, and Raymond begins repeating himself louder and louder. Embarrassed, Charlie tries to silence him. Raymond pulls away, takes out his notebook, and carefully writes down the way Charlie treated him. Charlie finally loses patience and calls Dr. Brunner. He demands money, but Brunner refuses. So Charlie decides to bring Raymond back to Los Angeles and fight for legal custody. If he wins, he believes he can control the trust and get the inheritance. Then Raymond wanders toward a waitress because he wants toothpicks. When she accidentally spills them, Raymond instantly counts the pile, 246. Charlie is shocked. Then Raymond looks at the waitress's name tag and recites her phone number from memory. The night before, Charlie gave him a phone book. Raymond has memorized it. Charlie is impressed, but he has bigger problems. His car business is collapsing. The luxury cars he imported failed emissions tests. Customers are backing out. His loans are overdue, and bankruptcy is closing in. That is why he is so desperate for the inheritance. His plan is to fly Raymond back to Los Angeles. But at the airport, Raymond panics. He begins listing airplane crashes from memory and refuses to board. No matter what Charlie says, Raymond believes flying is unsafe. Charlie tries to force him, but it only makes things worse. So the 3-hour flight becomes a 3-day road trip. And Charlie soon learns that traveling with Raymond is nothing like traveling with anyone else. When traffic stops on the highway after an accident, Raymond gets out of the car and walks into the road, frightened and confused. Charlie apologizes to drivers, chases after him, and tries to get him to the shoulder. He does not understand autism. He does not understand Raymond. At times, he even thinks Raymond is doing all of this on purpose, just to torture him. But he has no choice except to keep going. When heavy rain hits, Raymond refuses to leave the car because he has a rule about rainy days. So Charlie has to stop at a roadside motel, delaying their trip again. When Charlie tries to handle his business problems by phone, Raymond keeps reminding him that it is time to eat. To avoid another meltdown, Charlie goes out in the rain to buy the food Raymond wants. But when the plate arrives with 4 fish sticks, Raymond says there should be 8. Charlie, exhausted and irritated, cuts the 4 pieces in half. Raymond finally calms down. Later, Charlie calls his lawyer and learns something important. Raymond's legal custody is unclear. That means Charlie may actually have a chance to win. For the first time, he sees hope, but the road trip keeps testing him. Raymond suddenly says he needs to buy underwear from a specific store near Walbrook and even grabs at the steering wheel. Charlie explodes. He steps out into the empty road and screams in frustration. To him, underwear is underwear, but to Raymond, routine is safety. Charlie still does not fully understand that, so he decides to find a small-town doctor and get Raymond evaluated, partly because he needs answers, and partly because he is close to losing his mind. But while Charlie looks for information, Raymond gets out of the car, walks into traffic, and freezes at a red light. Drivers honk and yell. One man starts pushing him. When Charlie sees this, something changes. He may be angry with Raymond. He may not understand him, but nobody else gets to hurt his brother. After that frightening moment, Charlie takes Raymond to a local doctor. The doctor does not know much about autism, but he immediately notices Raymond's gift with numbers. Raymond can answer complex calculations almost instantly. He can process patterns with incredible speed, and although communication is difficult, he can still respond clearly in his own way. Watching Raymond answer with absolute confidence, Charlie begins to soften. again. Something inside him starts to grow. From then on, Charlie keeps Raymond close. He becomes more patient with his routines. When Raymond needs to watch a certain television show, Charlie knocks on a stranger's door and begs until they let Raymond watch. It is awkward, it is inconvenient, but Charlie does it. His business, however, keeps falling apart. His credit cards are cut off, his debts are piling up, and custody feels like his last chance. Then, one night at a motel, while they are brushing their teeth, Raymond suddenly says two familiar words, Rain Man. Charlie freezes. The way Raymond says his own name sounds just like Rain Man. The imaginary friend from Charlie's childhood was not imaginary at all. It was Raymond. Then Raymond shows Charlie an old photo of the two of them together. The truth slowly comes back. Charlie and Raymond once lived in the same house. When Charlie was 3, shortly after their mother died, Raymond tried to give him a bath. Their father misunderstood and thought Raymond might hurt him. Because Raymond could not explain himself, he was sent away to Walbrook. Raymond never forgot his little brother. That is why he went with Charlie so easily. And all these years, Raymond believed he had hurt Charlie. When Charlie suddenly turns on the bathtub faucet, Raymond panics and repeats that he must not hurt Charlie. Now Charlie finally understands. His father was not simply cruel. He was afraid. He sent Raymond away because he thought he was protecting Charlie. And Raymond, the brother Charlie never knew, was the Rain Man who comforted him when he was small. That night, after helping Raymond fall asleep, Charlie sits alone on the couch, unable to rest. For years, he hated his father for being cold and controlling. Now he realizes the past was far more complicated. His father sacrificed one son to protect the other, and Raymond, despite everything, had loved and remembered Charlie in the only way he could. The next day, the road feels different. The brothers are still strange together, still difficult, still awkward, but they are closer. Charlie buys Raymond a small television so he can keep watching his favorite program. He puts sunscreen on him so he will not burn. For the first time, Charlie is not just dragging Raymond along, he is caring for him. Then, bad news arrives. Charlie's company has collapsed. The cars have been seized, and he now owes $500,000. Just as Charlie hits rock bottom, he sees another side of Raymond's memory. Raymond glances at a restaurant playlist and later knows the order of the songs. Combined with the toothpicks and the phone book, Charlie gets an idea. He tests Raymond with playing cards and realizes Raymond can remember them with stunning accuracy. Since they are near Las Vegas, Charlie drives straight there. He pawns his gold watch, buys them expensive suits, and gets them cleaned up so they look like serious players. Then they go to a casino. At the blackjack table, Raymond's memory helps them win again and again. Their growing pile of chips attracts a crowd. It also attracts casino security. The managers suspect cheating, but after reviewing the footage, they cannot find any hidden device or obvious trick. Raymond is simply using his mind. Then Raymond becomes fascinated by a roulette wheel and keeps saying the number 20. Charlie thinks Raymond might have another gift for this game too, so he bets big. He loses it all. Still, by then, they have won nearly enough to cover Charlie's debts and reclaim his watch. Charlie stops before things go too far. At the bar, Raymond unexpectedly starts talking to a woman. Because he is too honest, he tells her exactly how he has been winning. She simply says they should meet at 10 o'clock to dance. For Raymond, this feels like a real date. He is excited and nervous. Back in the suite, he asks Charlie to teach him how to dance. Charlie is tired, but he agrees. As music plays in front of the windows, the two brothers slowly dance together. For the first time, their connection is not about money, fear, or control. It is just two brothers learning how to be close. But when Charlie tries to hug him afterward, Raymond panics. He still cannot handle unexpected physical contact. Charlie is hurt, but he is learning. Then, Susanna returns. After realizing his mistakes, Charlie had called her, admitted what he had done, and told her he was sorry. She sees that he is changing, and she gives him another chance. At 10 o'clock, Charlie and Susanna take Raymond to meet the woman. But instead of the woman, casino security is waiting. She was sent to find out how they were winning. The casino cannot punish them because Raymond's ability is not a traditional cheating device, but they can ban them. So the next morning, Charlie, Raymond, and Susanna leave Las Vegas. To help Raymond remember the past, Charlie lets him sit in the driver's seat of the Buick for a short while. For Raymond, it is a small but meaningful return to a forgotten part of his life. When they finally reach Los Angeles, Raymond stays at Charlie's apartment. Charlie still wants custody, but now it is no longer about the money. He wants his brother in his life. He wants to make up for all the lost years. Dr. Bruner comes to see him and explains that the evaluation center believes Raymond cannot live independently. Walbrook is still the safest place for him. If Charlie fights in court, he will probably lose. Bruner offers him $250,000 to walk away. The old Charlie would have taken the money. This Charlie refuses. But then something happens that makes him question himself. One morning, Raymond tries to make breakfast but does not know how to use the microwave. Smoke fills the kitchen and the fire alarm goes off. The loud noise overwhelms Raymond. He panics and hurts himself against the window. Charlie rushes in, breaks the alarm, and calms him down. Standing in the mess, Charlie finally understands the question he has been avoiding. Loving Raymond is not the same as knowing how to care for him. Soon, Charlie, Raymond, Dr. Bruner, and an evaluation doctor sit down together. The doctor asks Charlie difficult questions. Did he take Raymond from Walbrook without permission? Did he ask for money in exchange for bringing Raymond back? Does he have the training and ability to care for an autistic adult with Raymond's needs? Charlie has no easy answer, because the truth is, he did those things. But he also tells the truth about what has changed. At first, he wanted the money, but after their time together, he realized family matters more than the inheritance. He knows it may sound ridiculous, but it is true. Then the doctor turns to Raymond. He asks whether Raymond wants to live with Charlie or return to Walbrook. But Raymond cannot make the choice the way they want him to. He says yes to both. The more the doctor presses, the more anxious Raymond becomes. Charlie sees the panic building, and in that moment, he stops fighting. Not because he does not love Raymond, but because he does. He chooses what is safest for his brother. Raymond seems to understand in his own way. For the first time, he gently leans his head toward Charlie. It is not a hug exactly, but for Raymond, it means everything. Soon, the day of goodbye arrives. Charlie promises he will visit Raymond in 2 weeks. Raymond immediately calculates the exact time, down to the hours, minutes, and seconds. He may not express love with big speeches, but he knows how to hold on to time. And for him, that is a kind of love. As the train pulls away, Charlie watches his brother leave. This time, there is no anger, no jealousy, no obsession with money, only a quiet smile. Because the inheritance he wanted was never the real gift. Raymond was. Rain Man is a 1988 American road drama directed by Barry Levinson, starring Dustin Hoffman as Raymond Babbitt, Tom Cruise as Charlie Babbitt, Valeria Golino as Susanna, and Jerry Molen as Dr. Bruner. At first, Charlie is selfish, bitter, and desperate for money. He takes Raymond from Walbrook because he sees his brother as leverage. But during their journey, Charlie discovers that Raymond is not a problem to be solved or a fortune to be used. He is family. He is the missing piece of Charlie's childhood. He is the Rain Man who once sang to him when he was afraid. And through Raymond, Charlie finally sees the truth about his father, his past, and himself. This movie is not just about autism or extraordinary memory. It is about learning to see another person beyond what they can give you. Raymond lives by routines, numbers, and rules that most people do not understand. But inside that world, there is memory, there is loyalty, there is love. And Charlie, a man who spent his life chasing money and control, slowly learns that the most valuable things cannot be inherited, bought, or won. They can only be recognized. Sometimes family does not arrive the way we expect. Sometimes love does not sound like poetry. Sometimes it sounds like a countdown to the next visit. 2 weeks, 14 days, 336 hours. That is Raymond's way of saying he will miss his brother, and Charlie finally understands. That's all for today's movie recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share.